What's the most pain you have ever experienced? Sorry to be so specific, but I had a huge spiked kidney stone make it all the way to the exit, but it was too big to come out all the way. I didn't have insurance at the time, so the doctor put some mild topical anesthetic on it, grabbed his forceps, and yanked until it came out. I almost blacked out from the pain. I yelled so loud, my significant other heard me from the waiting room. Tooth infection. It hurt so much, my entire existence just revolved around trying to lessen the pain in any way. I literally couldn't think of anything else. Intestinal parasites. Before they got to the diagnosis, they mentioned it might be late-stage cancer, and I was like, that's fatal, right? Thank fuck. I was literally begging for death. Severe ruptured ovarian cyst that caused major internal bleeding and needed emergency surgery. Passed out, threw up multiple times from the pain. Migraines. Don't have them anymore, but they were hours and hours of misery. I snapped my Achilles tendon during a rock climbing fall. Had a 3rd-degree burn on my leg. A massage clinic put a hot stone wrapped in a towel under my calves as part of a massage I asked for. I wanted a massage, but they did this first for some reason. Left it there for a half hour and cooked my flesh so badly it took almost 5 months to heal. I had to go to the burn specialist each month and he would debride the wound. That's essentially cutting out the cooked flesh from your leg. It's done without any pain relief nor freezing. I screamed bloody murder down the hall so all the other patients could hear me. Then I had to go home each time, let it grow upwards for a month, and he'd do it again. When my newborn daughter passed away, I think it was the day after that really burned and numbed at the same time. She stopped breathing on the table for what I thought would be a simple ER visit. She was feeling a little cold, so I brought her in. I even packed a bottle with my milk to feed her while we were there, because she wasn't wanting to latch all day. She coded 10 minutes after we got there. They did CPR for about an hour and a half, but it felt like forever. They said there was nothing they could do, but now that I look back, they didn't even check to see if there was any brain activity. I just held her. The NICU team came down and took her footprints for me and gave me a bear that weighed as much as her. I carried her out to the medical examiner's van in a body bag not all the way zipped so I could look at her face. Then I watched her drive away till I couldn't see the taillights anymore. I walked out of the hospital with an empty car seat and a bear filled with rice. The next day when I woke up was the worst pain I have ever felt. It wasn't a dream. I didn't have to wake up to feed her because she was gone. It was a truly silent night. After not seeing her for a couple weeks and going to the viewing, I dropped everything I was holding and ran to her tiny casket. She was in the tiniest white dress. She looked like a doll. She didn't smell like the baby I had gave birth to and cared for those short 18 days. She smelled like chemicals, skin ice cold. Then watching her tiny casket placed in the ground and covered with dirt. Every day I feel the same pain. I miss her. I had a disc hernia blocking 90% of the sciatic nerve that traumatized my hips and joints all the way to my feet, and it caused something called sacroiliac joint dysfunction, where the nerve that's already blocked 90% is also stuck and pinched by the joint. The level of pain was so high I couldn't sleep for days, and the pain became me. I'd feel it pulsing through my whole body, overstimulating all the muscles that to this day are damaged, and my brain was about to explode from all the pain they had me take antipsychotics. This ended when they gave me a morphine shot and did a discectomy. I woke up unable to move anything except my arms and neck, but the pulsing pain finally stopped. Took 4 months to recover and walk again. Endometriosis. Endometrial tissue grows outside the uterus and around your other organs, creating inflammation and all sorts of issues. Just before I had my surgery a couple of years ago, the pain got so bad. I'm so glad things are better now. Living in pain sucks. Fucking contractions from Peterson. God bless any woman who's dealt with it. I have endometriosis. Every period is debilitating, and my entire life stops for the first 2 days. During a root canal, my dentist accidentally drilled into my sinus cavity. He tried to keep going as if nothing happened and proceeded to put the solution they used to clean out what's left of the tooth on it. It may as well have been bleach for how badly it burned. It was so excruciating that by this point I was crying and almost screaming. I jumped up out of the chair and passed right out. Woke up on the floor with my mouth and sinuses throbbing with a pain I can't even describe. It took 3 full surgeries on my sinuses in the hospital and countless office procedures on my teeth to fix all the issues it caused. I was in pain almost constantly for 2 years after that incident. Always see an oral surgeon or endodontist for all extractions and root canals. Do not let your regular dentist do those. It will not save you money. It's not worth it. I learned the hard way. Childbirth. I remember staring at the window and thinking I'd jump out to make the pain stop. Several years ago, I had an impacted kidney stone. The nurse said, "I've heard it hurts worse than labor." The kidney stone was a cakewalk compared to giving birth. I've never come so close to the edge of losing my mind as I did while screaming during childbirth. It was hell. Have a nice case of PTSD from it too. The headaches resulting from a spinal fluid leak. 10 out of 10. Do not recommend. A UTI that took me too long to get taken care of. By the time I went to the urgency room, I legitimately thought I was dying. The pain was excruciating and I was running a fever. I could barely move and my stomach region was full on doing cramp contractions every 10 to 15 minutes. My back and stomach were so sore and inflamed. It took me 10 minutes to muster up the strength to get out of bed to walk to the bathroom every time. I had to pee and poop almost every hour, and they were the most painful times I ever had on the toilet. I lost 12 pounds in just 5 days because I could barely eat nor drink anything. I was in tears and had a panic attack because I thought I was going to die anytime soon. I thought it was a kidney stone at first, but nope, a UTI. A friggin' UTI. It probably led to kidney infection, but the urgent care doctor never mentioned anything about kidney infection after looking at the test results. I didn't bother to ask because I was in too much pain and just wanted my antibiotics. Took 2 weeks to fully recover after getting antibiotics, and I still can't believe a UTI can cause that kind of pain. Anytime I feel the tingles from my nether region, I immediately hop on it and take care of it because I never want to go through that kind of pain again. I want children, just not with you. Physically, have had 2 kids and a complete colectomy, sliced open stem to stern. And still, the most pain I've ever experienced was a fistula abscess that formed on my abdomen. Second most painful experience was an intestinal blockage. Emotionally, I was 4. My folks had been split for about a year, and I hadn't seen my dad that whole time. He came to where my mom and I were staying to try and convince her to take him back. When I heard my dad's voice, I ran to the door shrieking, "Daddy!" in delight. He glared at me and told me to shut up and leave them alone. Absolutely destroyed me. I still remember his eyes and how he looked at me. Once a cricket ball hit my penis. Not physical pain, but mental. One night when during my depression I felt shaky and scared, and looking back, it felt like my mind was trapping me. It was very scary to go through. That night made find out that what I was going through was depression through psychiatrist meeting. I stepped on a stonefish in Vanuatu. Funny part was, it was the last dive of my rescue diver certificate. I handed my victim up to the instructors and then had to ask for help. IUD insertion. Doc hit the vagus nerve. All I got before the procedure was some ibuprofen. Women's healthcare in the US is in shambles. Sinus infection in an airplane. The pressure felt like my head was going to explode for about 20 minutes. That shit was unbearable. Also, I got sun poisoning from a wicked sunburn in Hawaii. Whole front of my body was extremely red. I couldn't sleep for days. Every movement was torture, and the nausea and vomiting had me running to the bathroom all night. The tan lines that resulted lasted for about 4 years. Snowmobile crash going 45 miles per hour in Vail, Colorado. Flew over the handlebars and off a steep drop about 500 feet below. Landed first on my head, then on my butt, really hard. Rolled a little further. Screamed bloody murder when I came to a stop. Just unimaginable pain. I had cut my right leg badly and suffered a spinal injury. I was wearing a helmet, a damn good one, Bell brand. It was shattered, but my skull was not. I was paralyzed, waist down, only for a few hours. I was lucky. However, my spinal cord took over 2 years to heal, and I spent that time in a harness, then a wheelchair. Went to Mayo Clinic many times. They saved my legs. After the 2 years, I could barely walk, but with 3 more years of physical therapy, I fully recovered. My back still hurts like hell, but you learn to live with it. Recently took up weight training and lifted 210 pounds with my legs. I have to tell you, Just sharing that with you makes me cry tears of joy. To have experienced this and be able to not only walk but to be stronger than I was 30 years ago makes me very happy. Gallstones. It felt like someone stuck their fist in my gut and kept twisting. Aggressive inflammatory breast cancer. Do not Google that cause the pictures can be graphic. Got under the skin and creates a burning, throbbing pain. 0 out of 10 would not recommend. I am doing good on treatment. It metastases, so it's not curable but manageable. Doctors believe I will live years with it. Kidney stone at 9 months pregnant. Threw up from the pain and it put me into labor. Try passing a stone and a baby with no drugs.